I'm going to show you a foolproof way to stretch your fabric inside of embroidery hoop without any distortion. This method, although slightly unorthodox for lack of a better term, works every single time and is very easy to do. And actually very, very important if you plan on displaying your finished embroidery outside of this hoop.
Embroidery quick tips.
Start by taking a close look at your fabric weaves. It will look kind of like a grid, okay? Made up of vertical and horizontal strands weaved around each other. What you don't want to do is position your fabric weaves at an angle inside your hoop like so, because our fabric is held together by vertical or horizontal lines. It means if you stretch your fabric vertically or horizontally, you will simply be putting tension on those individual strands. And you'll notice that the stretch doesn't really go too far if you do that. But if you start stretching diagonally, you'll be moving both vertical and horizontal lines at the same time and introducing a whole lot of distortion. So first thing, align your fabric properly so that your weaves are parallel and perpendicular to the hoop screw. It's the easiest way to do it because you want your hoop screw being horizontal right on top of your hoop instead of like somewhere on the side or at an angle. Then loosen your screw a little bit and separate the hoop parts, but keep them in line still. I like to put my outer hoop on the same trajectory but just a little bit away from me, so they're kind of in the same line. I didn't twist it, I didn't move it, I just moved it out of the way. Then put the fabric on top of the inner hoop and bring the outer back in and position it on top just as it was before, but now you have fabric in between. The reason why I didn't loosen the screw a whole lot just a moment ago is because when I put that outer hoop on top of the inner hoop, I actually want some fabric resistance there. If the resistance is there, I can gently push my hoop down where it belongs, and in turn, it will stretch my fabric at a consistent angle and tension as I do that. If I were to have my outer hoop quite a bit looser than this wouldn't happen, and I would have to do a lot of work to fix the fabric movement that's inevitably going to happen, and I would rather not do that. Now that my fabric is sandwiched in between the hoops, I'm going to tighten the screw a little more and continue the stretch. What I'm not going to do, as I mentioned earlier, is stretch my fabric all around this hoop. In fact, I'm only going to stretch vertically, up and down. Then I'm gonna tighten the screw a little bit more and repeat the stretch. And surprisingly, I need to repeat these steps just a couple of times to achieve the tension that I want. And here you have it. Perfectly stretched hoop. My mic's right here. Can you hear it? Perfectly stretched hoop with amazing fabric tension and minimal fabric distortion. And if I were to stitch something in this hoop, which I'm not gonna do because this is just for this video. But if I were to stitch something and then rehoop it or even stretch it over a cardboard to frame it in a frame, for example, it would be very easy to keep my stitches the way they're meant to look.